From the left coast, it's a show for the streets, strictly for the culture, strictly for our people. YouTube the views, log on and stream. Some news you can use with your host Khrissy B. Get familiar, yeah. Get familiar. Get familiar. Get familiar. You gotta get familiar. Yeah.
All right, well, this is Get Familiar episode 20 with KO. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Nice to meet you. You know, you got on my radar via Instagram. How about that?
I know. You know what's crazy? It was like my manager was like, "Hey, you should check out this page and what they're doing." And I just saw like LA native. All right, let's
do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you're from Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, from Boston.
What brought you to LA?
Music. Yeah. And no snow.
No snow.
Yeah.
Born and raised Boston?
No, I was born in Arkansas and then moved around all over the place. Lived in Mexico for a while.
Okay.
And then I moved to Boston for school. So I stayed there for a little bit.
Cool.
And then came out here.
Okay, music. So you established your passion for music in Boston?
I think music is something I've always known I would do, regardless. Like when I was 15, 16, I was singing in church. You know, my dad was a music director, and then he was like, it was funny. I don't know if at the time, I was just excited. So at the time I was like, this is great. And I, as an adult, I realized like my dad just wanted to like fill up the time.
Right. Okay.
So
that makes sense.
Right.
That makes sense.
So I was always playing music like with him, and then my brother is a songwriter. So in high school we had like our little bands, and it was kind of legit though. We'd go to studios and record albums, and we had fans. We would sell out shows and stuff. And so then when I was 18, I moved to Boston because I was like, let me go. I went to Berkeley and just learned music production and engineering because I just knew like music.
Early.
Yeah, I was just like, music is kind of the one thing I really understand.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me go ahead and like really do this.
That's a dope. So I would kind of say then it might have started with your dad.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
Started
both my parents.
Dad.
We were always like both my parents have very wide spectrum of music tastes, and so it was just kind of like natural.
What kind of music were you growing up listening to in your house?
Mostly soul, hip hop, R&B. Stevie Wonder was like always playing.
I love it.
Yeah, my parents also had like the Christian rap thing going on, but it was always Black music for sure. Like I don't really remember us listening to like rock or country or anything.
Yeah.
It was always soul, Motown, R&B, like stuff with some booty to it.
Right. Do you feel like your sound is that soul music?
I don't know if it's soul necessarily. I would say no. I would say it's
what genre do you put yourself in?
R&B,
Yeah.
for sure. Like a more modern kind of
Yeah.
R&B. I don't think I can claim soul. I'm a guest in the space,
Right.
and I'm not trying to, intrude on the hospitality shown to me. So I try to say like R&B because that's what I've studied. You know what I mean? And that's just naturally what comes out, no matter what I try to do.
I can respect that. I think too, though, if that's naturally what comes out of your, out of what you project, I think it's okay to claim that.
Yeah,
I think if that's naturally, also especially if you grew up in the house listening to it, that's all you know, then I think that you can naturally claim that in that genre of music.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I think I just, my biggest like goal, I guess, whenever I like write a song or create anything is like, does it have a story? Does it have substance? Regardless of the medium it's coming through, whether it's R&B, hip hop, pop, whatever, like does it have, is there like meat to it? Is there meat and potatoes? And like, I think I learned that from listening to like Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder, Mariah Carey, like Sly and the Family Stone, like they have stories. And that's always what I keep trying to like bring back to my writing, regardless of what genre it's in.
Storytelling is so important.
Yeah.
I think too, for me, I'm a huge R&B, soul music lover. Like I'm stuck in the 90s. To know me is to know like my favorite era of music is the 90s. So that 90s R&B is just, the pen games were strong. Like,
right.
If you're talking about like I mean, it's so many artists I can, but you can start with like Mary J.
Right.
You can go with Sade.
Yep.
You got Aaliyah.
Yep.
You got groups like SWV, TLC. You know,
and Vogue.
Yeah. I mean, it's a wide, and that's just not even like scratching the surface.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's what I'm missing now is like the lyricism.
Yeah.
Is the, you know, what's the story behind the music?
Right. Yeah.
So I think I really can appreciate you kind of wanting to tap into focusing on lyricism and being a good writer, because it's not, and I get it, like the turn up is cool. We want the funky beats, we want the fun production, we want to party. But what are you talking about?
Yeah, what are we here for?
What are we here for?
Yeah.
Like for real, what are we here for? And so besides obviously music writing, or, you know, you also write for like major companies, right?
Yeah.
Barbie was the one that I saw.
Yeah.
Kind of elaborating how that kind of, you know, how you transition from writing music to writing for big companies like Barbie.
Yeah. I think that it was kind of a friend of a friend. And originally, so I went to school for engineering and vocal production, which is basically like the back end side of music, where a singer will take a song, they'll sing it, and then I help them basically make it better by tuning all the notes and making sure everything is kind of like clean and nice sounding, so that when they go to mix it, everything's nice and put together. And doing that, I got called by the studio and they're like, hey, can you do this for us? And so I started doing that for, have you heard of Polly Pocket?
No. Wait.
The
it's
toy,
like old school Polly Pocket.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So they asked me to do it for them first. They're a Mattel brand as well.
Oh, they Polly Pocket is so old.
Yeah, they've been around
for
forever.
years.
Yeah. The little like tiny ones.
I remember.
Yeah. So I was originally doing just the back end production for them, and then they had me come into the studio to help record some of the other vocalists. And it was funny because they didn't know that I also sing, and I wasn't trying to like, you know what I mean? I wasn't trying to
flex.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to overstep. I was like, let me just do the job I'm here for. But there was a couple parts where the other vocalist wasn't getting this one part, and I was like, oh no, do it like this, and I like full out like sang it because I was trying to help her. And then they were like,
wait a minute,
they were like,
got some pipes.
We gotta, you know what? They were like, and so they came to me and they were like, do you want to give this? Like, do you think you could do it? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I think I could.
Yeah,
I think
sure
I could try. And so
that was your moment. That was free. That was meant for you.
This was like a brand new account for them. So then they were like, hey, we're gonna start working with Barbie. Would you be interested in writing some of the songs?
Hell yeah.
Right. And because like Barbie had just started doing their rebrand campaign where they were putting more people of color, you know, characters of color. They were putting more like female, different types of careers. Their whole thing was like, we don't want to just have girls aspire to be pretty anymore. Like we really want to push them to, you know, aspire to be astronauts, lawyers, doctors, like all of these other things that women are and do all the time.
And that's a part of Barbie's rebranding. I noticed.
Yeah.
Because now there's so many different kind of Barbies, and I love that. Because when I buy my daughter Barbies, you know, there's an astronaut, there's a doctor, there's a veterinarian. Yeah.
So there was like, I know they spent somewhere upwards of billions of dollars to rebrand this whole thing, and also what they started to do too, by way of the success of this campaign, they essentially animated the songs I wrote. So they started to make these official music videos for Barbie, where she was singing and they had the choreo, and one of the videos has close to 7 million views. And it's been really crazy and humbling to just see it from literally nothing, just some Zoom sessions with me and 2 other people, to like what it is now. So it's been a really cool experience to like be part of history, really, and get to like claim my place as a writer, because it's a very different style of writing, but it's still a lot of fun because they've been, you know, really just trusting of us, and like, here's kind of our references, and they give us one song that the reference was Cameo, and I was like, oh, we're doing this, like, let's go. And the song actually ended up sounding a lot like a Cameo, like Rick James style song, which was really cool. Dope. So and it's always about like confidence, like girl power, you know, be yourself, and I'm really happy that it aligns with like my beliefs and what I'm here for.
It makes sense. So how have you been able to adapt and adjust being in LA? You know, I feel like when people move to LA, we kind of get this bad rap. They're like, oh, LA. You know, it's fast. the people kind of have like a bad rap, or people sometimes say we're aggressive or we're mean.
I come from Boston, so that doesn't exist.
Our personalities are just off. And it can get, I mean, this is Hollywood, you know, so you do have a lot of that facade. I can see kind of why people feel that way, but we're not all like that, you know. So I'm curious, and I really want to, you know how you feel about LA and the natives, and how has it been for you just adjusting and adapting?
I think there's two sides to people in LA. The people that are from here, born and raised, are genuine. They show up on time. They follow through. They're here for their people.
Yeah.
The people that want to be from here, that's what people see, because it's the one that's the most, you know, abrasive. It stands out the most. But I've been able to thankfully be blessed and kind of tap into a part of this community where I'm learning and getting to know more people who are actually from here. And I would say the people I've met who are from here are very down to earth. They're very giving. Yeah. They're the people who they ride for. You know what I mean? But you gotta act right.
Yeah, you do.
You can't be crazy or act entitled. I'm very much about trying to maintain my role and my power, but also not be entitled to things and spaces that I know I'm a guest in. You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing for me. So I think that there's definitely the clout chasers. There's definitely the, you know,
got those everywhere, but they're big here.
They're big here, and they're usually transplants. So it's I don't know. I think when you're kind of tapped into your own energy and you know who you are, it's really easy to gauge all right, we got each other. And I think that's something that, because LA natives have seen this influx of transplants and stuff, you know who you mess with and who you don't kind of immediately. And I respect that, because East Coast is very much like that too, just in a different way. So when I first moved here, I remember the culture is just very different. It's very the East Coast is 7 a.m. is late. You know, if you're starting at 7 a.m., you gotta go.
Wow.
And here it's just more relaxed, you know, and I had to get used to that. People do things kind of when they do them, but it's not necessarily bad or good. It's just different. And so I think that was
the same pace.
It's a different pace. It's definitely fast, but in its own way.
Yeah.
People aren't as outwardly stressed out here, which I like. I think it has to do with the weather and you know what I mean. But I just think, I don't know. It's just different. But people are, the ones that I've met have been genuine and you know, always want to help me. And the biggest thing for me that is I know I can be friends with this person is if they don't sell me a dream.
Yeah.
The people who are really from here don't do that. It's oh, cool, you do music? All right, great.
Yeah.
I have this friend, maybe y'all could get along, maybe not, whatever. But
and this is LA is full of creatives.
Yeah.
Everybody here, I feel now, are just more so doing, again, the creative stuff. Not necessary, and a lot of us work 9 to 5s, but a lot of us don't. You equally have people that work the 9 to 5s, and then you equally have creatives.
Right.
You know, so I think that it's easy to kind of find somebody that you can, you know, instantly relate to.
Yeah, that was the thing
in the creative space.
Right. I love that about LA. You can be whoever you want to be, and you can find the little pockets of people that get you. And I think that is very unique to LA, because LA was the 19th move in my life.
19.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's because your dad was you said the military, right?
Yeah, he was in the military.
And you moved around obviously because of that.
That, and then just different job changes. Yeah. And then when I was 14, my parents were like, we don't want to be in the rat race anymore. Let's move to Mexico. And so then we moved to Cozumel, Mexico. And I've been going back and forth there my whole life.
What's your nationality?
I'm Vietnamese.
Oh, nice. I can't. You're beautiful, but I can't tell.
Thank you. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Half Vietnamese, half white.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So a lot of people think I'm Latina because of that.
I was thinking that. I was gonna go there, but I wanted you to tell me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I speak Spanish, and my stepmom's from Mexico City. Okay. So by association, you know, I'm Mexican, but I'm not by blood.
Yeah. Dope. And you spent some time in Mexico, a lot of time?
Yes, since I was 14, I've been going back and forth between there and here. And so I kind of almost feel more at home there, to be honest.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's Mexico's culture is based around family. It's based around like family and eating and spending time.
I can see that.
Yeah, and I love that. Like I remember when I was 15, 16, I was visiting my dad, and his girlfriend, his wife now, but girlfriend at the time, her like 15 relatives came over, and they were just cooking, like everybody's giving each other gifts. They were all like talking to me, and I just felt so welcomed, you know? And like, even the people who didn't speak English were still trying to like accommodate me and be kind and say hi. And something in Mexican culture is like, if you go to a party or a function, you have to say hi to every single person. Even if it's 50 people, you gotta say,
you gotta speak.
you have to like acknowledge. And I respect that, you know? I feel like it's so work oriented and like so, you know, like just work until you die, basically.
Everybody's about the hustle here. It's just a hustle environment.
And I respect that.
Hustle.
I respect it, but it's like
team no sleep here.
Right.
I'm sleeping though.
Right.
It's like team no sleep.
I'm allowing myself to take breaks and not feel guilty for it.
Absolutely.
And that was just something I learned through like COVID. But I think we all
time was interesting, wasn't it?
How was it for you?
You know, for me, I was able to really discover a different side of myself that I have not discovered. Even being at the age that I am, sitting down, like there's so many things that I wanted to do that I never had time for, like fitness.
Yeah.
You know, I lost 20 pounds during the pandemic.
Wow.
That was like a big goal of mine, was to just kind of get back active and working out. And during the complete shutdown, when literally the stores, the market, you couldn't even go through a Starbucks drive-through. There was no fast food places. I was out of work for like 3 or 4 months. It allowed me to really just get on a workout plan and stick to it every single day. It changed my diet, in addition to just really putting things in play, coming up with a game plan and putting some things in order. So when we did come out the pandemic, I was ready to roll.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know?
you look dewy. You look great.
Oh, I appreciate
She's alive.
It.
She looks rested.
Yes, girl. And I do take time for myself. Like I have 1,000 things going on, but I do take time for myself, and I was able to actually discover, get familiar. It was birthed during the pandemic. I've always wanted to do this, you know, the idea of just being able to get to know different individuals and creatives and get their stories, because I feel like there's so many people that work behind the scenes that have a story to tell. We're so focused on the artists and the people in front of the camera. They're important too, don't get me wrong, but there's so many stories too behind it all. People that work, you know, behind the scenes. So I mean, I think you play different roles though. I feel like you wear many hats. You know,
I do.
You're in front, you're behind. Especially with you writing.
Yeah, well, one of my things I kind of realized, because I did a bunch of stuff before where I am right now. But I did the like wedding band thing for 5 years where I would MC, and then I did the production thing, and then I did the engineering where I was in the studio with artists. And I kind of just realized it didn't like feed my soul. And I was like, I need to do things that don't just give me a check. Like I need to do things that I actually care about. And ever since I kind of said no to all the things that didn't do that, all of these fulfilling projects, and you know, I'm a very big like believer in abundance mentality. All of the abundance that was already there for me, I made the space to welcome. So it's been 3-4 years now, and I've made 100% of my income through music.
I love that.
And like, I don't know always where it's gonna come from,
but you believe and you know.
And I know like the artist thing is slower moving because I'm not with a label, but that's on purpose. You know, I have a vision, and I'm not willing to give up percentages of that just yet for people who, you know what I mean, may not necessarily have my best interest at heart.
I would love to elaborate too on the independent route. I feel like now we're in the time where a lot of artists are deciding to go indie. I think personally too, it's the smart move. And I always reference Nipsey and Nipsey's blueprint on, you know, like all money in, you know, doing it on your own, taking getting a team of people that you trust and believe in, that have the same work ethic and believe in it as much as you do, and really putting in the work. I feel like he, for me, is the blueprint of how you can do it, and watching it, you know, manifest and happen. Talk about your decision on why you feel like indie is the best move for you.
I just feel like, I'll put it in business terms. There are no other industries where if somebody gives you money or they invest in your art or whatever you've created, walk away with the patent, walk away with the production rights, walk away with streaming royalties that they had no part of, just because they gave you a lump sum of $150,000. I just don't believe that that model is fair to the people who are grinding, who are putting in the work, who are blood, sweat, and tears, putting their heart and soul into something that forever people are going to be able to listen to, you know what I mean, and enjoy. Like when you think of certain songs, when your parents think of certain songs, it brings them back to a part in a time in their life that they can't ever relive, but that song helps them relive it. To me, that's elusive beyond an amount of money. Like
I agree.
What we do as artists, what we do as writers is we help people bring to fruition what they were feeling in that moment without being able to like know how they can say it universally. That's what I do. And so to me, unless I find a label or people who are kind of like-minded in that sense, I just can't say yes to it because maybe I have too much of a vision or maybe I have too much control, but I just feel like I need to be met halfway, and I'm still working towards finding people that are kind of like open-minded in that way to let me be who I am, because I'm a business person first, the same way Nipsey was. Like, I'm like, what's the ROI on this? Like, what, I'm talking percentages. And that's something during quarantine I got really into, was economics and finances.
Smart.
Because I was like, I gotta be good at something besides music.
Exactly.
Like,
So smart though.
Yeah, so I just got really into like reading charts and stocks and crypto and all that type of stuff. And I'm nowhere near an expert, but I just took advantage and I took control more of like my own finances and the infrastructure that I'm building for myself, because I'm like, cool, like a quick bag is fine, but what are my kids gonna eat off of? What are my grandkids gonna eat off of? They can't eat off a quick bag. Like I gotta have a state. I gotta have, you know what I mean? And that's the reason why I'm very picky. And my manager, Tyler, also, she's a lawyer, so she's always got her legal beagle hat on.
Good.
And she's like,
you need somebody like that.
There were a few deals that I got offered last year, and she was like, you don't need these. She was like, if you were a brand new artist, sure, but you've done all these things that other artists hope to do. And she was like, regardless if people know your name yet or not, you can't undervalue yourself.
I love that.
Yeah.
Do you have any particular projects or things that you worked on that we might be familiar with?
Barbie was one. I just did, I just placed the song on Netflix's Queer Eye, the new one, which I'm pretty excited about.
That's a big one.
Yeah. LeBron, thank you. LeBron produced Becoming, the Disney Plus series. I placed on the Ashley Tisdale episode, which is pretty cool. I've placed on like Project Runway, 90 Day Fiance, Vanderpump Rules.
Nice.
$1 Million Estate, the Tamar Braxton show, Get Your Life. I placed on a lot of that one, which I was surprised of. I was like looking at the royalty statement. It was like 6 to 8 different episodes that I'm on, which is pretty cool.
Right.
Desperate Housewives of Atlanta, I'm pretty sure. Those are like the biggest ones I can think of off the top of my head.
Well, those are all big, for one. Congratulations. And not even just the ones that we know of. I'm sure there's other things too that you've been working on and that you're a part of too that are just as big. Like maybe personal projects too, I'm sure. I dropped a song last year and I didn't really expect anything, but NPR's Tiny Desk picked it up, and because I had submitted for their contest and it wasn't chosen, but it was like a staff favorite. Nice.
And they did like a little write up on it. It was cute because it was like it was one of my first songs where I felt really like tapped into my own story and my own like voice of what I wanted to say. And it's not a song about love or sex or drugs. It's a song about karma. And like, I don't know, it was just a cool little moment for me to be like recognized, I
love that.
Yeah.
So now that we're kind of opening up, we're slowly coming out of this, well, I don't even know if we're really coming out of the pandemic. It's still here, but there's a slight shift. What can we kind of expect from you? What are you working on?
I just finished an EP, which I'm really excited about. It's called Sorry If This Hurts. And it's basically, each song is like a journal entry. So I'm gonna start the rollout for that this week. And the first single drops October 8th. It's called Often.
So we'll look out for that.
Yes. And then I'm trying to organize like not a listening party, like a release party that's like also Halloween themed. So
Nice.
I'm working on that.
I love Halloween.
Yes, and I will
be
obviously
fun.
invite you.
Please do.
Yes.
I'm gonna come dressed.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Okay.
It's gonna be costume optional. So
Okay.
if you want to
I'm
come,
gonna be dressed anyway.
Okay, good. Yeah, I just like wanted to have a little like moment where it's not just about me, but it's like everybody coming together. My friend's gonna DJ.
Nice.
And then
Sounds like a cool little vibe.
yeah, all the songs are like if Aaliyah was alive today. That's like kind of like the vibe that I wanted to go for. It's very much R&B, but with hip hop beats under it. And my producer Glenwood, he works with Timbaland, so he produced everything, and I'm excited for it because I'm gonna perform everything for the first time November 6th at the Grammy Museum.
Oh, nice.
For a launch party for this app called Sound Mind. It's like a music therapy type app. So that's kind of what I have in the works now.
Great.
And more will come, I'm sure.
Yes. Now, how can we stay in touch with you? Drop your social media.
Yeah, so all my stuff is just KO the artist, KEO the artist, on Twitter, Instagram, Spotify is just KO.
That's simple. Y'all should be able to find her. Do your Googles too. Right. Now, before we let you go, I want you just to drop me one gem. Just, it doesn't have to be like, it's just something personal from you that you just kind of want to put out there. Like a motto, or it could be a motto, it could be a quote, it could be a saying.
You put me on the spot.
Yeah, I just want you to give me one good. It could be a life gem. It could be
a life
anything
gem
that you just kind of live by.
Let's see. Okay, I got it. Anytime you're gonna go do anything, be with anybody, whatever the case is, ask yourself, am I loving myself by doing this? Am I showing myself love? If you live through that filter, things become so clear.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's actually something my mom told me. So
it's basically loving yourself first.
Always.
Always.
Yeah, because when you love yourself first, you can be a better service to everybody else. So.
And that was that. That was beautiful. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
It was really nice getting to know you. We'll definitely be in touch.
Yeah,
I'm gonna stay in touch with you.
Of course.
And everybody get familiar with KO. She's the real deal. We're out. Till next time.
You can use with your host Khrissy B. Get familiar. Yeah. Get familiar. Get familiar. Get familiar. You gotta get familiar. Yeah.